Hey YouTube, it's nice to be back. I am Mark Möller and I run an agency called Ecom Experts, and today we are diving into e-commerce category pagination. The question is if you should index these category pages, which could be page 2 or page 3 of your pages where you can see a lot of products. So in Shopify we call these collections, WooCommerce calls them category pages. And we're checking out here Under Armour, and we see how they have handled their category pages. So right now we're browsing the site with JavaScript off to see how Googlebot would be able to get into these pages. And we can see at the bottom here, if we copy this link and make it bigger, that Under Armour has put a link to the page number 3. So this is absolutely discoverable for search engines, because to search engines this looks like a new page essentially. So page 3 and 4 are new pages, and we can then dive into it to see how they are handling the indexation of those pages. So over here we can see that they have set a self-referencing canonical, and we're going to jump into shortly what the different options are here. But basically the URL is the same as the canonical. That's what we call a self-referencing. At the end here it has page 2 and page 2. That means that they're basically saying, hey Google, you should be indexing this page. And the interesting next thing here is then the title. So we can see here, this is the title for the main page, and the title for the internal page is most likely the same here. Let's check for the main page. 99% sure. Yep, men's workout shirts, hoodies, and so on. So they've kept the same title there on the main entry page, as well as the paginated pages such as page 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. So let's look at what the best practice is. Has Under Armour made a big mess here, or have they actually done the right thing? So quick recap what pagination is. It's a technique to divide content into a series of separated linked pages. So really, let's say you have 100 products, but rather than showing them all on one page, instead of that, you're breaking them down into 5 pages and 20 products each. That's basically what pagination is. Why it matters? Well, if you want good discoverability, maybe you're thinking, I want Googlebot to crawl these product pages, and as an entry point, use your category. So your category really is an entry point for the bots to come into the category, see, oh, there's 20 products, see the first 20, but what about the other 80? Right? How can bots find those? And that's where the pagination comes in. You can now make a decision. Are you going to no index all of the other pages, page 2, 3, 4, 5, in your pagination order? Should these be do index or no index? And should they be do follow or no follow? And what are the consequences of each? I believe here we've got some examples. Let's see here. Okay, option 1, you can index only the first page, and then subsequent pages canonicalize back to the first page. So what that means is you're telling Google, hey, I only want this first page in search results, and page 2, 3, 4, they are all the same as the first page. That's why you shouldn't show them in search results. That's what you're really telling Google in language when you're doing this thing, canonicalizing to the first page. Whether that makes sense or not, we'll cover that in a little bit. Let's go into the second option. Index all pages with self-referencing canonicals to each page. So this is what Under Armour has done, where you're basically telling Google page 1, obviously that should be indexed, but all other pages as well, they should be indexed too. Let me see here. There is one more option where you can no index other pages as well. So basically here under this option 1, you can either handle this blocking Google from indexing other pages 2 ways. You can do it via the canonical tag or via the no index tag. Doing both doesn't really make sense if you're putting a canonical tag that points to the first page and you're also no indexing the following pages. So what am I talking about here? What I mean is if you say here, this page is no index, but then you're also putting a canonical tag on here, and you're saying the canonical on this page should be just this over here. So let me write this here. That doesn't make a lot of sense, even though it's still being done. And the reason it doesn't make sense is because Google has to choose one or the other. So if you're saying it's no indexed, it doesn't matter what the canonical tag is, and most likely Google will default to just using the no index tag and ignore the canonical, because anything that shouldn't be in search results, it doesn't matter what we're saying, what other page could be similar. But yeah, so really comes down to, do we want these indexed or not? And then there are many nuances here that we can explore. So Under Armour has done a pretty smart thing here where if we have JavaScript on, this is what the website looks like, what the category looks like. But even with JavaScript off, which is how Googlebot would be fetching the HTML and potentially also exploring the internet, Google can still click here or find this link via Googlebot and then visit the second page. And then from the second page, Googlebot can still visit the third page. So this is quite a good way how Under Armour has handled this. And the reason why they've done it is explained here. Actually, it's not in the document. The explanation that I like the best is that we want the product pages to be indexed and really well discovered. And generally in e-commerce, it is a problem to link enough to our product pages, right? So it is in a way just an internal link to a product, which would otherwise not be seen. So again, if we go back to this analogy that we have here, our first page with 20 products here, then another 20 there, another 20, another 20. If you only get Google to find the links to these first 20 products, but products from 20 to 40 over here are not seen, and then 40 to 60 and to 80, all of these would not be as discoverable if we didn't do this. So it's really these links. So this is our page number 1 here. And then at the bottom of page number 1, they have this next link here. This is really a bridge. So you can think about it as a bridge to the next page. And that's really what we're using it for, to basically tell Googlebot, hey, here's your little bridge, walk over this, now look at my other 40 products. And then we're saying again, hey, Googlebot, now that you've seen these 40 products, go to my next bridge and see my next 60 products. So that is really how you can think about indexation. The current recommendation for Google is to do this, what Under Armour has done, to basically have some code in there which links to the next page, which is not rendered by JavaScript. So this is raw HTML, so that search engines can find it, and putting a self-referencing canonical on there. Again, what does that mean? That is this part over here where the page 1, if Google lands here, the canonical is also page 1 to say, hey, I am the main page, I should rank in Google search, there's no other page similar to me. That's really what a self-referencing canonical can tell us. And that's what Google recommends at the moment. It creates one new problem, because the reason why people did like the no index strategy is because you don't have the problem that you now have multiple pages with the same page title all indexed in Google search. Because what's happening now is that you have page 2, 3, 4, 5, and they all have the same page title. So this is slightly awkward, right? Because it could confuse Google if you don't do internal linking well. And if the first page is not optimized correctly, it could confuse Google that you now have 5 pages. They all have the same page title. So which one should they rank in Google search? And what happens if they decide that page 4 is the best version to rank, but not your page number 1? So a couple of workarounds to that can be that on the first page, you can insert unique content. And this can be the only page where you have unique content. So basically, let's undo this. Let's say here on page 1, you put unique content on this page only. So not the page 1, but the actual URL that doesn't have anything behind it. So this one here would be your unique content. And then all of these other pages, they have no content. So making it less likely that Google will rank that page. You could even put internal links from all the other pages back to the main page. That should give some extra internal linking power back to the main page. as well as other internal links, let's say from the homepage, from the footer if possible, maybe even the header from blog articles. You want to be linking to this main page more often. So that is a couple of ideas there. Then I've also seen it done that on page 2, the title would change. It would just be like category, I don't know, call it men's, or maybe just category for something very broad, that so that we don't get impressions or keyword cannibalization. You could call it category for products 1, for example, and this is your category for products 2. But products not even being a keyword, but just literally this, so that Google doesn't have the chance to rank this page for any keywords in itself. So the only page that should rank is this main page over here. I would say you have to look at a case-by-case basis. If you are having keyword cannibalization issues, then you can consider this option, where you're basically choosing page titles that have no risk of cannibalization at all. Under Armour here has kept their main page title for all the other paginated category pages as well. But just depends on whether it actually becomes a problem for you or not. I would say if you have a good website structure in terms of internal linking and you're doing all the other things that we mentioned, you shouldn't run into problems there. But I hope overall this tutorial was helpful. I also leave this pros and cons table up for a second here if you want to have a look at that. I haven't actually proofread that or double checked it, so no guarantees on that one. Let's see if the news section here is interesting. Category pages as high potential assets, focus on user experience. Yeah, so it's, user experience. Okay, I wanted to actually go to some other bad examples, what you shouldn't do. So this store, let's see if this is a good idea or not. So this load more button, it would need to be actually discoverable by Google, and there would have to be like an Ahrefs link around it. But I can't see an Ahrefs link that a search engine could discover here. So that would be a bad example, essentially, if you have no clickable links that Google can see that are wrapped in an A tag. That's a poor experience. And I've had one more example. Let's see from these guys. These guys are auto-loading more products. That's also a bad experience. Let's see, yeah, JavaScript is off, but they're still auto-loading more products because, again, Google wouldn't be able to see those, wouldn't be able to go into these because Google is not going to scroll on your page. So this is definitely a poor experience for Google. And here's another example of a difficult experience for Google. Again, e-commerce, and they also don't have any A tag inside of this link here. So there needs to be like a clickable A tag. They just have a load more, so there must be some JavaScript still running, or something running in the background to actually make that load happen, but nothing that a search engine could see, because we can see clearly here there's no Ahrefs link that would be clickable. When we compare that to here to Under Armour, if we inspect that, we can see that we have here an A ARIA label and then next. So this is the A for the Ahrefs link, and here the link starts, and then the anchor text here is next. So this is definitely discoverable and clickable for a search engine. Well, they don't click per se, but they add the new URL to their crawl queue and then decide if they want to visit it or not. But you get the idea. All right, I hope this video was helpful. There will be another video coming out shortly on keyword cannibalization, so stay tuned for that one. My name is Mark Möller from Ecom Experts, and I'll see you in the next one.